At the beginning of the story, we're introduced to a man named Robbie, who is being haunted by the vision of his late girlfriend, Jane. The two were involved in a terrible car accident. Robbie survived, but Jane wasn't so lucky. Crushed by guilt and grief, Robbie can't stop crying. He blames himself for her death and desperately wants one last chance to apologize. After wandering around for days with no hope, Robbie finally visits a tarot card reader. He begs her to help him contact Jane's spirit. "Please, I'll do anything. Just let me speak to Jane one last time. I need to tell her I'm sorry." The tarot reader warns him that communicating with the dead is incredibly dangerous and refuses to perform such a ritual. But Robbie refuses to give up. He keeps pleading until eventually the tarot reader gives in. She tells him she won't perform the ritual herself because it's far too risky, but she can show him another way. She hands Robbie an old red book and explains that it contains a ritual capable of opening a doorway to the spirit world, allowing him to speak with Jane. However, she gives him a terrifying warning. Once that door is opened, it won't be only Jane who comes through. Countless other spirits will cross over as well. Using the power of the red book, each of those spirits will tell Robbie their own horrifying story. He must listen to every single one of them. Only after the final story ends will he be allowed to speak with Jane. But before he leaves, the tarot reader gives him two strict rules. First, he cannot perform the ritual alone. He'll need 3 other people to complete the circle. Second, and most importantly, under no circumstances can anyone leave the ritual before it's over. No matter who calls their name, no matter what terrifying things they see or hear, they must stay where they are until every story has been told. The spirits will do everything they can to distract them, lure them away, or make them abandon the ritual. But if anyone gets up before it's finished, the consequences could be unimaginable. Robbie agrees to every condition. He gathers his 3 friends, Jeff, Stacy, and Amy, and takes them to an abandoned house that once belonged to a friend. Years earlier, several people had taken their own lives inside that house, and since then, it had been completely deserted. Robbie believes it's the perfect place to perform the ritual. Although his friends agree to come, none of them actually believe in ghosts. They laugh at Robbie and tell him that Jane is gone forever and there's no way she'll ever return. Robbie quietly pleads with them, "Please, just do this for me. That's all I'm asking." Eventually, they give in. Why not? At worst, it'll just be a creepy little adventure. The 4 of them sit in a circle, and Robbie slowly opens the mysterious red book. The moment he does, the book begins telling its first terrifying story. The first tale is about a young woman named Jenna. When Jenna was a child, her biological parents abandoned her, but many years later, they suddenly wanted her back. They wanted to reconnect and become a family again. After thinking it over, Jenna finally decides to give them a chance. For the first time in years, she travels to meet her mother and father, Edgar and Scarlett, who live in a small, isolated village hidden deep within a forest, far away from the city. As Jenna arrives at their home, she's overwhelmed with happiness. At last, after all these years, she's finally reunited with her parents. After a while, Jenna finally gets a chance to talk with them, but something immediately feels off. The house is filled with strange objects, voodoo dolls, creepy ritual items, old occult books, and all kinds of unsettling things. But the creepiest of them all is a worn-out teddy bear that gives her an uneasy feeling the moment she sees it. Scarlett then starts talking about her past and says, "You know, my friends and I used to party all the time. We had so much fun. Let me show you." She pulls out a stack of old photographs and begins showing them to Jenna. But every single photo has one disturbing detail in common. Scarlett is wearing a giant teddy bear costume. Jenna can't understand why, and the whole thing starts feeling even more disturbing. Then Scarlett smiles and says, "I'll give you this costume too. You'll be wearing it as well." At this point, Jenna has had enough. She's terrified and just wants to leave. But the moment she gets up to walk out, one of them calmly stops her. "There's no point in leaving now. The only way out of this village is by a boat that crosses the river. But it's already night and the boat won't come until morning. It's just one night. Stay with us." With no other option, Jenna reluctantly agrees. Late that night, around midnight, Jenna suddenly wakes up. It feels like someone is walking outside her bedroom. She opens her eyes and looks toward the door, but there's no one there. She lies back down, trying to fall asleep, But once again, she hears footsteps outside. This keeps happening over and over until finally she sees a dark figure standing in the hallway. It's wearing a giant teddy bear costume. Jenna assumes it's Scarlet trying to scare her with a prank. But when she pulls the costume toward herself, there's nobody inside. Now she's completely terrified. She rushes downstairs, convinced she can't spend another second in this house. She runs for the exit, but just as she's about to escape, a life-size teddy bear suddenly appears right in front of her. Frozen with fear, Jenna turns and sprints back toward her room, but someone else is already waiting for her there. A shadowy figure attacks, knocking her unconscious. When Jenna finally wakes up, she realizes something horrifying. Scarlet and the others have dressed her in the same teddy bear costume. Panicking, she screams, "Why are you doing this? What do you want from me?" That's when Scarlet reveals the horrifying truth. We worship the devil. He promised us that as long as our daughter remains inside this costume, we'll never run out of money. That's why you'll stay like this, forever. Jenna keeps screaming and begging for help, but no one is there to hear her. In the end, Jenna dies, and with that, the first story comes to an end. After hearing it, Jesse, Amy, and Jeff burst into laughter. What a ridiculous story. That could never happen. But Robbie isn't laughing. He clearly remembers what the reader had warned him. As soon as one story ends, call your girlfriend. Robbie immediately shouts, "Shane! Shane, where are you?" The others keep laughing, but Robbie refuses to ignore the warning. He calls out again, even louder, "Shane! Shane!" This time, they hear footsteps approaching from somewhere in the distance. The laughter instantly dies. Stacy and Amy exchange terrified looks as fear takes over the room. But Jeff still refuses to believe any of this is real. He keeps thinking someone is just pulling an elaborate prank on them. Robbie, however, is convinced that Shane's spirit is definitely going to appear tonight. Finally, Robbie begins reading the second story. It's about a young woman named Sophia who has the terrifying ability to see ghosts. No matter where she goes, she sees restless spirits everywhere. But she wasn't born with this gift. Everything changed after she survived a terrible car accident. From that day on, the dead became visible to her. Sophia tried countless times to convince people she was telling the truth, but no one believed a single word she said. As time passed, the spirits grew bolder and started getting closer to her. Then one day, one of them attacked her, killed her, and dragged her into the world of the dead. And that's where the second story comes to an end. As soon as Robbie finishes reading, he starts shouting, "Shane, are you here? Tell me where you are." Suddenly, strange noises echo through the house. Doors begin slamming and cracking open on their own. The sounds grow louder with every second, and panic spreads through the group. Then Robbie slowly looks up. And there she is. Shane has finally appeared. She doesn't say a single word. She just stands there, staring directly at Robbie. The moment Jeff, Stacy, and Amy see Shane standing there alive, they're completely horrified. But Robbie is overjoyed. He's desperate to go to her. Stacy immediately grabs him and warns, "Don't do it. The reader told us that no matter what happens, we must never break the circle." But Robbie ignores everyone. He breaks free and runs upstairs after Shane. The instant he leaves the circle, everyone realizes the reader's warning was true all along. As Robbie disappears upstairs, a violent supernatural storm erupts inside the house. Furniture crashes to the floor, objects fly across the room, and chaos takes over. Stacy, Amy, and Jeff instantly understand that they've broken the one rule they were never supposed to break. Terrified, Jeff begs the mysterious book, "Can I leave now? Please, just let me get out of here." But the book refuses. Ignoring its warning, Jeff makes a desperate run for the exit. The second he does, a vicious spirit appears out of nowhere and brutally kills him right in front of Stacy and Amy. Watching Jeff die leaves both women frozen in absolute terror. Without wasting a second, the cursed book turns to its third story. This one is about a young woman named Healer. Late one evening, someone knocks on her front door. Knock, knock. When Healer opens it, she finds a mysterious box sitting outside. Inside the box is a strange-looking crown, unlike anything she's ever seen. Confused but curious, she takes the crown inside and eventually goes to bed. But in the middle of the night, while she's fast asleep, she has no idea that something horrifying is happening. A demonic creature slowly crawls out from inside the cursed crown and silently begins making its way toward her. Suddenly, the healer's eyes snap open. At first, she convinces herself it was just her imagination, but then she sees the demon standing right there. Terrified, she hides under her blanket, hoping it won't find her. But the creature slowly pulls the blanket away. The healer desperately looks around for someone to help, but the room is completely empty. Then her eyes land on the strange crown. In that instant, she realizes it's a cursed object. She quickly grabs the crown and throws it outside the house. But the moment it leaves her hands, the demon appears in front of her and brutally kills her. Now here's the terrifying truth about that crown. It wasn't an ordinary crown at all. It was a symbol of dark magic. Anyone who sent this cursed crown to an enemy was basically sending the demon along with it. Once the victim accepted the crown, the demon would hunt them down and kill them. That means one of the healer's enemies had deliberately sent her the cursed crown, and the curse claimed another life. And with that, another horrifying story comes to an end. Meanwhile, Stacy and Amy are completely terrified. Crying and begging, they plead, "Please let us go. We didn't do anything." Stacy turns to the mysterious red book and asks, "Can I leave? Please, just let me go." But the book gives the same answer over and over again. "No, no, no." Stacy breaks down in tears and tries to run away anyway. Suddenly, a dark shadow grabs her and lifts her into the air. Amy rushes forward, trying to pull Stacy back, but then Stacy starts laughing in a creepy, unnatural way. Amy soon realizes the horrifying truth. A malicious spirit has possessed Stacy's body. Moments later, the possessed Stacy turns on Amy and kills her without mercy. Now everyone is dead. Well, almost everyone. Robbie is still alive, wandering outside and desperately searching for his girlfriend. Just then, the mysterious book flips to another page, revealing yet another terrifying tale. This story is about a young woman named Beth. One day, Beth is chatting with her friend Mike when she notices that he's been uploading stunning photos all over social media. Curious, she asks him how he managed to take such amazing pictures. Mike smiles and tells her about a special photo editing app that makes every picture look incredible. Excited, Beth immediately downloads it. To her surprise, the app really is amazing. It comes with incredible filters, and every photo she takes looks perfect. She starts posting her new pictures online, and people absolutely love them. But then something strange happens. A guy named Stallion keeps sending her message after message saying, "I'd really like to talk to you." Beth assumes he's just interested in her, so the two start chatting. Before long, they decide to meet later that night. Beth tries to tell Mike what's been happening, but Mike suddenly looks terrified. Before he can warn her about the app, suddenly Mike's call cuts off. Beth tries calling him over and over, but his phone is completely unreachable. Before she can figure out what to do next, she gets a message from Stallion. "I'm outside your house." At first, Beth refuses to let him in, but after a moment she decides it might be better to hear what he has to say. The second she opens the door, she freezes in terror. The face staring back at her doesn't look human anymore. Panicked, Beth slams the door shut. Outside, Stallion desperately shouts, "Beth, I need to talk to you. Whatever you do, don't use that filter anymore. Look what it did to me. That cursed filter wants to take control of you." Beth has no idea what he's talking about, but then she glances at the mirror, and her heart sinks. She finally sees what the filter has done to her. It has completely transformed her. Overwhelmed with fear and anger, Beth breaks down in tears and desperately tries to uninstall the filter. Stallion screams from outside, "Don't do it!" But it's already too late. Beth has already become part of the filter itself. This wasn't just an ordinary social media filter. It was a cursed, demonic trap. It gave people a few moments of happiness, only to slowly enslave them forever. And with that, another horrifying story comes to an end. Amy is now completely terrified. Jeff and Stacy are dead, and Robbie has vanished without a trace. She realizes that if she stays there any longer, she'll be next. Gathering every ounce of courage, Amy runs outside. She jumps into her car and starts the engine. But just as she's about to escape, Jeff's vengeful spirit suddenly appears behind her and brutally kills Amy as well. Think that's the end? Not yet. One final story still remains. The mysterious red book turns another page, revealing its last terrifying tale. It's about a young woman who lives alone in the middle of a dense forest. One day, someone knocks on her door. She opens it and finds an old wooden chest sitting outside. She picks it up, but before she can open it, the chest begins shaking on its own. Frightened, she throws it back outside and goes to bed. But later that night, she wakes up, only to discover that the chest has somehow appeared inside her bedroom. Slowly, it begins to open. A figure climbs out from inside, but its face is anything but human. The creature silently places the chest over the young woman. In that instant, it is finally freed from its prison, while the girl dies and becomes the chest's next victim. The chest is cursed. It transforms its victims into demonic beings. The only way to escape its curse is to trap someone else inside it. Only then can the current victim be released. Otherwise, the curse never ends. All the stories are over, but one question still remains. Where is Robbie? He's outside when he finally spots his girlfriend, Shane. Robbie rushes toward her and tearfully apologizes. Please forgive me. I was driving too fast. The accident happened because of me. He keeps begging for forgiveness, without realizing that the person standing before him isn't Shane anymore. Robbie had broken the rules, and now it was time to face the consequences. The vengeful spirits attack him, and Robbie meets the same horrifying fate as everyone else. And that's where the movie finally comes to an end. But the mysterious red book still exists. So what do you think? Will there be a part 2? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.